Hey everyone, and welcome. So today, we are totally skipping the theme parks. Instead, we're going to find the real Florida. You know, the one the locals love. We're talking bizarre festivals, super charming small towns, and some pretty wild adventures. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so when you picture a Florida vacation, this is it, right? I mean, long lines, pricey tickets, all these perfect, shiny fantasy worlds. But come on, is that really all there is to Florida?
Yeah, that's why today we're taking a little detour. Let's get off the main highway, you and me, and go find those homegrown traditions and all the quirky surprises that make Florida, well, Florida.
And we're kicking things off with my absolute favorite category, the wonderfully weird. Oh yeah, this is where Florida's personality really shines.
All right, first stop, Stop Choppy, Florida. Get this. Every single April, this tiny town becomes the world capital of worm grunting. And no, I'm not making that up. It's not just a funny name. It's a real, celebrated local skill.
So you're probably asking, how on earth do you grunt for worms? Well, it's actually kind of simple. First, you hammer a wooden stake into the ground, then you take a piece of iron and just rub it against the stake. Those vibrations sound just like a digging mole to a worm, you know, their worst enemy, and they come squirming right up to the surface to escape. The craziest part? It totally works.
Okay, so we've gone from grunting for worms to partying in your PJs? Yeah, if you thought that last one was a little out there, you are gonna love this.
Welcome to the Spammy Jammy in Goodland, Florida. Seriously, that's its name. It's the town's official and hilarious way to kick off hurricane season every June. Think about it. At home, in your pajamas, you're probably just watching TV. But at the Spammy Jammy, you're dancing to live bands and, get this, sculpting cans of Spam into art. I mean, come on. It's just pure, weird, wonderful Florida fun.
All right, so we've had our dose of the wonderfully weird. Now let's get a taste of the real Florida. This next part is all about the local food, the flavors, and the community traditions that really shape this state.
So picture this. It's January in Dade City, and everything, I mean everything, is about kumquats. It's this huge street festival dedicated to that tiny little tart fruit. You can find kumquat pie, kumquat ice cream, even kumquat-scented soaps, and, believe it or not, kumquat wine. It's just a perfect example of small-town pride. But you know, experiencing the real Florida isn't always about a single big festival. In some spots, that local flavor changes with the seasons. There's always something going on. A perfect example is Dixie County. You can literally plan your whole year around their local charm. In March, there's the Dixie County Fair. Then, come July through September, it's all about scalloping season. Everyone's out on the water. October, that's the Pioneer Day Festival. And to wrap up the year in December, they have this amazing old-fashioned Christmas parade. It's just nonstop community spirit.
And of course, you absolutely cannot talk about Florida flavor without talking about seafood. I mean, we gotta head to the coast for this one. The Gulf serves up some of the best oysters in the entire country, and you better believe the locals know how to throw a party for it.
Okay, so two of the absolute best are the Panacea Oyster Festival, which happens in the spring. It's famous for these intense oyster cook-offs. Then you've got the Apalachicola River Palooza in the fall, which is all about pairing amazing seafood with live music right there on the waterfront. Either way you go, the oysters are going to be incredibly fresh, and the vibe is 100% local.
All right, for our last section, we're going to mix things up. We're taking Florida's incredible nature and blending it with some local legends and just a little bit of drama.
Check out this number. What does it mean? Well, every single winter, more than 800 manatees, yeah, over 800 of them, all gather together in the warm, spring-fed waters of a place called Crystal River.
This is one of those bucket list Florida experiences for sure. Between November and March, Crystal River basically turns into a manatee paradise. And it's one of the very few places where you can actually, legally, get in the water and swim with these gentle giants. Respectfully, of course. And hey, if getting wet isn't your thing, no worries. You can just head to the Three Sisters Springs Boardwalk for some unbelievable, crystal clear views from above.
Okay, so we're going from the super serene, peaceful vibe of floating with manatees to something a little more spooky. Let's head to a town where the past isn't just history, it might still be hanging around.
So in a town called Mount Dora, the history lesson comes with a few ghosts, but this is not your average ghost tour. Not at all. Think of it more like a live performance. You've got costumed guides leading you through haunted alleys and old hotels, and they turn all these historic stories into this incredible, captivating street theater. And finally, we've seen the weird, we've seen the wild, but we have to finish with Florida's most legendary party. I'm talking about a 10-day-long festival of pure creativity and maybe just a little bit of chaos.
Welcome to Fantasy Fest in Key West. For 10 straight days, the whole island is just an explosion of color and sound. We're talking mind-blowing costumes, huge parades, and music everywhere you go. It's definitely a party for grown-ups, and it's all about incredible self-expression. Oh, and a fun little bonus? You're right near the Hemingway home, so you can go say hi to its famous six-toed cats.
So, okay, after all that, worm grunting, kumquat wine, spam sculptures, ghost tours, what's the point? I mean, why bother with all this stuff? Why go local?
Well, it's pretty simple, really. When you go local, you get to experience the authentic culture, not some polished theme park version of it. You actually connect with real people and support their small towns. Plus, it's usually way more budget-friendly. And let's be real, the memories you'll make, seeing a manatee swim right by you, or laughing your head off at a spam sculpting contest, you just can't put a price on that.
You know, I think this quote just nails it. Skip the lines, meet the locals, and explore Florida the way it was meant to be. Weird, warm, and wonderfully wild. So next time you're planning a trip to Florida, maybe look past the roller coasters. Because the real magic, it just might be hiding in some small town at some wonderfully strange local festival. The only question is, what part of the real Florida are you going to explore first?